devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to achieve quickly the desired success. Krishna Prema. Hare Krishna devotees, I welcome you once again on Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. If you could be so kind and unmute yourself and share your name with me and give me the opportunity to welcome you. Hari Bol.
हरे कृष्ण नीना माताजी दंडवत प्रणाम शिला प्रभुपाद की जय गुरु महाराज की जय प्रीति दासी फ्रॉम शार्लोट हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna, Preeti Devi Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances, Mata. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for joining Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call every morning, and thank you so much for chanting. Please keep joining. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Arvind Das from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Arvindaksh Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for joining Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call, Prabhuji. Please keep joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nina Mataji, please accept my humble
Hare
obeisances.
Krishna, Nina
All glories to Srila Prabhupada
Mataji.
and Shri Gauranga, and all the glories to the assembled devotees. This is Manjuli Lakshmi from Naperville. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Manjari Leela Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances, Mata. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much every day for joining Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. And thank you for such clear chanting and wonderful chanting, Mataji. Please keep giving us your association. Hare Krishna. There was another Mataji. I could not hear you. You were trying to announce your name.
Hare Krishna, Nina. Yes, Hare Krishna, Nina Mataji, Grace and Guru Mataji. Obeisances to you and Krishna Kumar Nina.
Haribol Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam Mataji, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for joining Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call, Mataji. Please continue to give us your association. Thank you so much for joining. Haribol.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. This is Yashamati Priya Devidasi from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashomati Mataji, please accept my Dandavat Pranam Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to all our Guru Maharajas, all glories to all the assembled devotees here. Thank you so much for giving us your association, Mataji. Welcome. Hare Krishna devotees, our next session will be the study of Srimad Bhagavatam. And we are so delighted that we are already in Canto 8, Haribol. But prior to that, we'll give a brief introduction of our keynote speaker. He's none other than His Grace Dwarkadhish Prabhuji. Now, Dwarkadhish Prabhu, he's a postgraduate MD and in internal medicine, and he's a senior physician at Bhakti Vedanta Hospital and Research Institute in Mira Road, Mumbai. How wonderful. He's dedicated his life to do seva for so many devotees. He is also the co-founder, trustee, and head of the Department of Medicine. His spiritual quest brought him to ISKCON in 1982, and he was fully satisfied when he read Srila Prabhupada's book, and he got initiated in 1986. And he took initiation from none other than His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. Prabhuji got married in 1986, and his wife is a wonderful devotee. Her name is Vishakha Priya Mataji as well. And both of them, they were the first couple that got married in Radha Gopinath temple. And the yagna was performed by their Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. How wonderful. Since then, both of them have been serving as counselors over 3 decades and have been offering weekly deity worship since the installation of Sri Sri Radha Gopinath Temple. Prabhuji is also a part of the Grihastha Vision Committee at Radha Gopinath Temple, and he has been guiding, together with his spouse, hundreds of devotees through lectures and seminars on leadership, Vaishnava lifestyle, premarital training, and marital counseling, thus helping couples to lead a harmonious Krishna-conscious life. With the intent to share what they have learned and gathered over the years, they have been traveling to several places in across India, to Kolkata, to Hyderabad, Pune, Bangalore, etc. And they also, and overseas as well, they have traveled overseas as well to Mauritius, Malaysia, USA, etc. Both Prabhuji and his wonderful spouse Vishakha Mataji has been a successful trainer, practitioner, and server to devotees and to the extended communities to wherever they go. We are so blessed to have His Grace Dwarkadhish Prabhuji with us. But until Prabhuji joins, devotees, you can continue to unmute yourself and you can continue to announce your name and allow me to welcome you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Prabhuji has already joined.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet, Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for giving us your valuable time and association. We are very fortunate to have you, Prabhuji, and it's wonderful to let you know that it's the first day of, we are beginning a new canto, Canto 8. So Prabhuji, whenever you have some time, if you could kindly enlighten us on Canto 8, and we are in Chapter 1, and if you could speak on verse 1 and 2, whenever you're ready. Haribol.
Yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji, you are. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dear devotees, Hare Krishna. Happy to be in the part of this very special Sangha called Bhakti Sangha, which is going on for last, I believe, from 2008 or 9. It is a long history of 16 years, which is very special. Consistency in your attachment to Bhagavatam is appreciated. I'm happy to be part of this Sangha today for a few minutes to share some thoughts on this nice verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. I will read the verse now. This is Canto 8, Chapter 8, the journey of the milk ocean.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, we are on Canto 8, Chapter 1, Text 1 and 2.
Oh, text 1, Chapter 1.
Yes, we just started it today.
Yeah. 1 minute. Okay. So I will read. Sri Rajo Vacha Swayambhuvasya Guru Vamsho Ayam Vistarak Shutaha Yatra Vishwa Srijam Sargo Manum Anyan Vadasvana. So read out what meaning. Sri Rajo Vacha, the king Maharaj Parishit said, Swayambhuvasya, of the great Swayambhuva Manu. Iha, in this connection, Guru, O my spiritual master, Vamsha dynasty, Vistarat extensively, Shruta, I have heard from you, Yatra, herein, Vishwasrijam, of the great personalities known as the Prajapati, such as Marichi. Sargaha, creation involving the birth of many sons and grandsons from the daughters of Manu. Manus, Anyan, other. Vadasva, kindly describe Naha to us. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. King Parishit said, O my Lord, my spiritual master, now I have fully heard from your grace about the dynasty of Swambhuva Manu, but there are also other Manus, and I want to hear about the dynasties. Kindly describe them to us. So there's no purport, we'll chant the next verse. Manvantare harer janma karmani cha mahiyashaha grinanti kavayo brahmasthanino vada shinvatam. Purport and translation. Translation. O learned Brahmana, Sukadeva Goswami, the great learned persons who are completely intelligent describe the activities and appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead during the various manvantars. We are very eager to hear about these narrations. Kindly describe them. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has different varieties of incarnations, including the Guna avatars, the Manona avatars, the Leela avatars, and the Yuga avatars, all of which are described in the Shastras. Without reference to the Shastra, there can be no question of accepting anyone as an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, and as especially mentioned here, Grinanti Kavayaha, the descriptions of various incarnations are accepted by great learned scholars with perfect intelligence. At the present time, especially in India, so many rascals are claiming to be incarnations and people have been misled. Therefore, the identity of an incarnation should be confirmed by the descriptions of Shastra and by wonderful activities. As described in this verse by the word Mahiyashaha, the activities of an incarnation are not ordinary magic or jugglery, but are wonderful activities. As described in these words, thus any incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be supported by the statements of the Shastra and must actually perform wonderful activities. Parishit Maharaj was eager to hear about Manus of different ages. There are 14 Manus during the day of Brahma, and the age of each Manu lasts for 71 yugas. Thus, there are thousands of Manus during the life of Brahma. Om Gyan Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Shahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Ram, Hare Hare. So we're beginning the new canto, eighth canto now. The Srimad Bhagavatam is an extremely powerful scripture. It has been called as Paramamsa Samhita or Amala Puranam. So the Bhagavatam is a book which is worshipped and kept in the altar of the highest reverence by those personalities who are devotees of Sri Krishna and Vishnu. They would say that the Bhagavatam is the ultimate evidence. Srimad Bhagavatam, Pramanam Amalam. Praman means evidence, right? So whatever is in the Bhagavatam is absolutely the evidence of the existential reality, whether the reality is of the past or the reality about what's going on in the present, or what will be the real things and events and situations of the future. At whatever times of the three times of the Kal Chakra, Bhagavatam stands supreme as the evidence of all that will happen, is happening, and whatever has happened. And therefore, it is like a record of cosmic time, all the important events of cosmic time. There are several Puranas, as we know. There are 18 Puranas, and there are also something called as Upapuranas. Any Puran, which is called as a Puran, must have some ingredients to be getting the status of becoming a Puran. There are 10 such requirements which make a Puran actually into Puran. Otherwise, they go into the category of Upapurans, which have only 5 such requirements fulfilled. So, Srishti, primary Srishti, secondary Srishti, impetus for Srishti, presence of avatars, the history of Manus, and such 10 points are there which qualify the scripture as being a Mahapuran. So, this canto, especially as we can see, is talking about one aspect of the requirement of a Puran, which is the history of Manus, which is not there in the Puranas in such detail. So this is the background why this chapter is very important, because it fulfills the requirement of the bona fides of a great Puran. Of course, Prabhupada is giving stress here about the Bhagavatam being the ultimate proof for all of us on universal history. And he's giving us some light on the Manus. So Manus, let us talk about the Manus for a while, because that is the main thrust on this purport, and then we will go further. So the Manus are called as Manvan Avatar, right? So let us understand that Krishna, first of all, is not an avatar, right? Krishna is a Samam Bonam. The Bhagavatam first chapter, it says, first words it says about how Krishna is the, or even Srimad Bhagavat in the Brahma Samhita says, is the cause sarva karana karanam. It means he is the supreme cause of all causes. There may be some immediate cause of a particular event or a situation, right? But when you trace it back, who is the supreme cause of all causes? That ultimate cause is, of course, Sri Krishna. And therefore, he is the cause of the spiritual and the material world. He is the ultimate end, the end in when you trace the history back of the creation, we will ultimately end up with Sri Krishna, right? He is the Anadir Adir Govinda. There is no beginning to him, but he himself is the beginning. Anadir Adir. No Anadi for him. There is nobody beyond Krishna or before Krishna. And Adir, he himself is the beginning of all that exists. And being the source of all intelligence, he has created a situation whereby there will be 6 categories of avatars, which will be the cause of the creation and maintenance and destruction of the material cosmos. This is handed over to the avatars. So the avatars are the Leela avatars, the Purusha avatars, the Guna avatars, the Manvantara avatars. Then you have the Purusha avatars, Leela Guna avatars. There are six categories. I may not be able to remember right now, but
Shakti
there are 6.
Aves. Shakti Aves. Aves Avatar, Prabhuji.
Sakti Avesh avatars. Yes, Sakti Avesh avatars also are there.
And
Right?
then Yuga Avatar.
And Yuga avatar. Correct. Perfect. Sorry. Thanks for sharing that. So there are 6 avatars, 6 categories of avatars. Within each category, there could be many subdivisions. So, first of all, he creates to the Purusha avatars, starting with Karmadakshaya Vishnu, then Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and then, of course, Shivdakshaya Vishnu. So, they are the primary cause of the creation. They emanate, Mahavishnu emanates huge universes which are like footballs hanging, floating on the universal ocean, right? Within each of these huge, gigantic universes, which start like small eggs, Brahmanda, Anda means like an egg, right? And then it expands. And within then each universe, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu enters. Lotus flower emanates from his beautiful lotus-like navel. Brahma sits on that navel, and then he meditates and becomes a secondary creator. Whatever creations Brahma performs of all the various species of life, the Lord Ashwadaksha Vishnu enters those species as the Paramatma or Antaryami. So these are the functions of the Shodakshai, and all the avatars, especially the Leela avatars, they all are emanating from Shodakshai Vishnu, who is like the local avatar of the particular universe. As far as human beings are concerned, they all emanate from the Manus. Therefore, they are called as, he's called as Manvan Avatar. Even though he is a human being, he is empowered by the Lord. He is empowered by the Lord to work on his behalf for universal management. Then, of course, we have the Leela avatars, which are 10 in number, which are known to us beginning from Matsya avatar to the last, of course, is Kalki avatar. So, in a lifetime of Brahma, which is 100 years of his age, 100 years, which is divided into, of course, each year into 365 days. Each day has 1,000 Chatur Yugas. So Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali is 4, multiplied by 1,000 is the one Kalpa of Brahma. And the Manu's jurisdiction, the Manu's reign, like we have our presidents in America for 4 years. In America, in India, we have Prime Minister for 5 years term. So the term of these powerful personalities is for 71 Yuga cycles, right? So we will first discuss about their functions, and we will also see how Bhagavatam gives us who they are. How wonderful is that, right? So first function of the Manus is they are lawgiver and ruler of mankind. So Manu is traditionally considered as the first man and lawgiver. He is the source of the Manu Smriti, Manusmriti is the law book for mankind. And therefore, he sets the framework for dharma for that particular era which he is ruling. The other function is to oversee the development of human civilization, right? He guides the society for spiritual and moral values and establishes the codes of dharma for that age. He also acts as a coordinator and a liaison and in between the devas and human beings, right? It's more like a bridge figure, right? He is also considered at times as the savior from cosmic catastrophes. For example, in Satyuga, as we know, when there was a flood, right? At that time, Vaivasvat Manu, Satyuga, Vaivasvat Manu was asked to create that boat, right? And to carry all the scripture, the rishis. So he was helping, has been helpful to save the creation from destruction. And in this way, he is a progenitor. Fifth one is a progenitor for all human beings. Now, it is interesting that Bhagavatam is, as I said before, has future, the past names are given and the future name also are given. So it is just for a purification, we will just enumerate the names because they are very powerful personalities. They are all pure devotees of Krishna. There's no question of being anything less than supremely pure because they are empowered by the Lord himself from within the heart to do the functions of all that we have mentioned. So the first Manu is Swambhuva Manu, which of course is mentioned by Krishna himself. Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan amavyayam vivasvan manave praha. That manave is the first Manu. Manu rikshavakave pravit. Correct. So in the fourth chapter, Krishna talks about this. So the first one is Swambhuva Manu, who was created by Brahma himself. Then we have, just we may not remember, but just we will just still nonetheless go through the list of Manus. It is very interesting. We have Svaruchisa Manu, then we have Uttam Manu, Tamsa Manu, Raivat Manu, then sixth one is Chakshusha Manu. And we should all know, all of us should definitely know who is the Manu for our reign while we are on this planet. That is Vaivasvat Manu, and we'll talk about more about him a little later. Then we have Savarani Manu, Daksha Savarani Manu, Brahma Savarani Manu, Dharma Savarani Manu. 12th one is Rudra Savarani Manu. Then 13th is Deva Savarani. And last is Indra Savarani Manu. So these are the different 14 Manus and during our particular day of Brahma. So our Manu for the time being is Vaivasvat, and he is very important for us, obviously, right? We know that the Yuga avatars come in every Yuga. Swambhavami, Yuga Yuga. So in each of Yuga, the avatars will come and establish Dharma, the Yuga Dharma. Nonetheless, Vaivasvat Manu is special because during his reign, the avatari himself comes. Not the avatar, but the avatari. When you say avatari means the original, complete, supreme personality of Godhead, right? He comes to this world, and how wonderful, how rare, and how fortunate are those people who can actually have the understanding of how, when the supreme cause of all causes comes to this world, how blessed this whole entire universe becomes by his presence in this universe. So, for you and me who are in the Kali Yuga, 21st century, we are very blessed because Krishna, the original cause of all causes, Swayam Bhagavan, Ramadi Murti Sukalani Minatishtan, Nana Avatara Akarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu, Krishna Swayam Sambhavat Paramam Pumamyo Govindam Adi Purusha Maham Bhajami. Right? So all these avatars like Ram and others, and other avatars are there But Brahmaji, who's also the supreme authority, the first created being, gives testimony to the fact that Krishna Swayam Paramam Pumam. He is the supreme. Paramam means supreme. Paramam Pumam Yo is supreme personality of Godhead. Right? So he comes in the 28th Yuga of Vaivashvata Manu during the time of Dwapar Yuga. And Lord Chaitanya, who's also not avatar, but he is avatari, he comes in the Kali Yuga of the 28th reign of this particular Manu, Vaivasvat Manu. So therefore, for us, when Prabhupada would say about Krishna and Mahaprabhu Chaitanya, he would say only recently Krishna was born. So from the point of cosmic creation, which is one Yuga cycle itself is something like 4.32 million years, right? And then you have multiplied by 1,000, and then like that. So in terms of time, therefore this sloka is given by Vrindavan Das Thakur. Anarpita charim chirat karunya uttirna kalo samarpayitum unnata jujala sam swabhakti shriyam. Hari prod sundara dudikadam sandipitaha sadaridaya kandare spritva sachinandana. That these great personalities are coming to this world once in a day of Brahma, which is 4.32 billion years. And his night is equal to 4.32 billion years. So one day is equal to 8.64 billion years. So imagine a particular event. Krishna came for something like 125 years. Mahaprabhu came for about 48 years in this manifest Leela. So in 8.64 billion years, the Lord comes for such a short period of time, right? And he performs, as Prabhupada says here, wonderful Leelas. And why is that? Because in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada says, we all human beings have a desire to talk. So we ask questions. What is the rate of this? What is he doing? What is she doing? How is the weather today? And we talk. So the questions and answers, right? And therefore there is constant talking going on in this world between, well, even animals and birds, but especially by human beings. So we need some subject to talk. And therefore, one of the most popular channels on television is a news channel, right? We want to know what's happening. What is the latest thing in the world? What is happening, the administration of the country? What is happening here? What's happening to this country? What's happening to that? What happened to that particular minister? What happened to that event? What about the wars here in this place, that place, right? So we are all constantly involved in so many things. And therefore, Krishna has to come, create such wonderful pastimes which overshadow and which belittle and make all other events appear completely pale and uninteresting, right? Uninteresting. So when Krishna comes, even though his function is Paritrana Sadhuna Vinashi Dushkrutam, right? He kills the demons and establishes dharma and takes care of the sadhus, the devotees, right? But how he really destroys the demons. So when Krishna is killing the demons, for example, in Vrindavan Dham, where he has done his maximum amount of demons were destroyed by him. Each demon is killed in a different way, right? How he kills Putana is totally different than how he kills Bakasur. Now, Bakasur is very proud of his beaks because they are razor sharp, and he could pin anyone down. And these are all great mystics, gigantic train, and he was trying to pin down Krishna. Krishna is very small. Krishna is only a few years old, maybe 5-6 years old, right? And he's trying to pin him down, puncture his body, right? With such sharp accuracy. He just going pin him down with his very razor sharp blade like beaks. So Krishna knows that he's very proud of his beaks because they are very strong. And Bakasur, the crane, was so very powerful. They could not be killed by Shivji's Pashupas Astra. He could not even be killed by Brahma's Yamadanda. Right? So these great mystics were formidable, and they were no match for the demigods whatsoever. There's no question of Indra's thunderbolt ever working on his body. So they were not like ordinary cranes which we just see in some cartoon film, some sort of crane comes and, does all sorts of things. No, it is not like that. They were extremely powerful personalities, and they could only be killed by one person, that is Krishna, because he is supremely powerful. All power belongs to him. All power in Bakasur comes from Krishna. so, whatever power Bakasur may manifest, what mysticism he manifests coming from Krishna. And so Krishna knew that he is got very proud of his beaks. So what does Krishna do? He first enters his beaks, and Bakasur is very happy. Since he is swallowed, finished, katam, right? And then Krishna comes out. When he comes out, he bifurcates his beaks, separates it out, right? And then when he kills Keshi wants to bite Krishna. So Krishna knows that he's very proud. He's neighing like only neighing taking place. He's like the horses shrill cries of neighing. With his mouth open, he wants to grab Krishna like this and kick him, right? So he's very proud of his legs and very proud of his mouth. So Krishna holds his legs and then twirls him around and pulls him to the ground. And then when he gets up again, he becomes very angry, right? With his mouth open, he comes to bite Krishna. Krishna puts his hand and shoves it into his mouth, right? And makes his hand red hot. Huge. He makes it so hot. I don't know what temperature Krishna made it. Maybe thousands of degrees of temperature. He can make all the Agni Dev is a part of Krishna. So all the Agni is within the body of Krishna. He must have made it so hot that the poor Keshi couldn't handle that. It's like having a bar of iron within your mouth, and it is not possible to handle that. And his eyes pop off and he passes stool and urine, and he dies. So Krishna has killed the demons all in very, very different ways, right? And the only demon he spared, and this is wonderful, all demons were killed because they were worthy of being killed, because they were so much terror for his very, very dear devotees, the Brijbasis. However, there is one demon which he was spared, right? And as we know, that demon is Kaliya. Kaliya Damana Vidhana. He didn't kill him, he did Daman. Daman means to subdue him, right? Like they say, when Pitta increases in the body, it's a Pitta Daman, right? Or when mind becomes agitated to Man Daman, right? So it was, sort of calm the mind by suppressing it from all its monkey-like activities. So Kaliya was spared. Now this is very interesting, right? Why was Kaliya spared? Because even though Kaliya had done great harm, he had created a lake, Kaliya Daha, where he was staying there. He had an underground civilization. He was not just ordinary snake which you see in the garden or some big snake like cobra going around, in the forest. He wasn't like that. He was very huge, right? Huge means maybe several story high building like that. Very huge. And he had 100 principal hoods, many other smaller hoods. And he was filled with terrific amount of poison. And he had his Nagapatnis and he had an entire civilization under the water. He was staying there in palatial royalty with great opulences, right? And he was the unrivaled king of that place. There's no question of anybody even, intruding into his privacy. So his good wives, the Nagapatnis, they were devotees of Krishna. How wonderful, right? And they would preach to the husband that you are so demonic, you're full of poison. You are the personification of envy. But you need to give up this envy of yours towards other living beings and the Lord himself and take shelter of the Krishna. Right? So they would preach him in many ways. But usually, when people are envious, they are usually also proud and arrogant, and you would never, never, ever listen to his good advice, right? And, and that was fine. But Krishna did not intervene at that point of time. But a point came when the coward boys and the cows started to drink water from Kaliyadaha, the Kaliya lake, right? And immediately everyone apparently died. Now, this is, of course, a Leela because the coward boys also have, they are part of his internal Shakti, right? And they also have Sachitananda bodies. So that death is apparent. Right? They become lifeless. They cannot breathe. They're not breathing, right? And when Krishna looks at all of them, his heart is pained. There is the amount of love that Krishna has for Brijbasi is not understandable by the human brain. How much he loves them. He loves them more than his own self. It's very rare in this world for someone to love more than his own self. We all love ourselves more than anybody else. Even though someone very dear to us, he cannot supersede the love which we have for our own self. It's very, very rare. But Krishna loves the Brijbasis to such a great degree because they've taken complete shelter of him, and the relationship is so sweet. So sweet. It is not the Aishwarya Bhav which is there in Vaikuntha, but they are in very, very much intimate relationship with him in Sakhya, in Madhurya, in Vatsalya Ras. They are the predominant rasas of Braj. And because they are so much attached to him in that rasa, and Krishna is enjoying that exchange with them. So when he sees them dead, Krishna is pained, right? But of course, he knows what to do. So he glances over them. Krishna's glance, how beautiful is that? When Mahaprabhu was glancing at the people when he was in South India, what is the power of Krishna? What is the power of the Lord, right? What is the power of his glance? His glance is considered as the source of creation, right? Krishna glances over material energy, right? And time, then when it is agitated by time factor, and that sets the whole, creation in motion, right? That's how in the Parama Vyoma, when he acts on the Mahatattva, it is just his glance that activates the Mahatattva towards the acts of creation. Anyway, so Mahaprabhu, when he would glance at the people as he was walking down the streets of South India, his glance was not just creating, it was even more than creation. His glance was converting anybody and everybody into pure devotees of Krishna. That was the power of his glance, right? From whatever level of consciousness they must have been, human beings are on, 4 lakh species are human beings, and we could be from the lowest rung to the highest rung. But just by the glance of Mahaprabhu, each and every person who saw him or heard him, and the people who would be seen by others, who were seen by the Lord before, right, as they entered their villages, when they would see, the transformed devotees would see their relatives, the villagers, they would become pure devotees, right? And Mahaprabhu set up a chain reaction of converting South Indians into pure Vaishnavas, great devotees. That is the power of Krishna's glance, Mahaprabhu's glance. So here Krishna glances over the covered boys and they all wake up. But Krishna is not satisfied with that alone. He has to deal with the person who has created such a terror. If a bird would fly over Braj, the bird would fall dead. Right? So in this way, by creating this poisonous situation, he was a great danger to the lives of all the Brijbasis. That was not tolerable. So Krishna, as we know, all of us, most of you have been to Vrindavan. There's a particular Kadamba tree on which it seems Garudji had many years back, he had put some nectar because all the trees around this lake were poisoned, and it was lifeless. There was practically no vegetation around. Everything was dried, and the poisonous effects had destroyed every vegetation around. But this particular one tree was full of leaves and flowers and flourishing. Krishna climbed that, tightened his belt, and was just ready for good match. He jumped inside the lake. And the jump was such that as if a huge object had fallen into the river, the Yamuna River, right? And it flooded the banks. And then when he went inside, Kalia saw him. And Kalia was angry like anything. That nobody had dared to intrude into his zone, his privacy, right? And similarly was the mood of Dhenukasur. They have their own zones. This is mine. The demonic tendency of the Jivatma is uh, Ahankar Vimbratma Karta Amiti Manyate, and Aham and Mameti. That Aham and Mameti is when it goes to extreme degrees, that makes a person demoniac. Right? So nobody could enter. This is my zone, this is my lake, this is my kingdom. And it is described how Krishna fought with Kalia, who was so proud of his poison, and he was trying to bite Krishna, right, with such accuracy, right? He was so sharp, he was so swift, right? But this little boy called Krishna was just evading him. He would go behind him, twirl around, right? At one point, Kalia was able to manage to bind Krishna in his coils, right? And when the Brihmasi saw this, they all fainted. They just couldn't take this. Our life is gone. Our very source of life, Krishna, whom we live for, is in helpless situation. And they were like, they just, even though they got up from their apparent, they had sort of died. When they see this situation, they again sort of summon and they faint. Mother Yashoda sees this, she faints, right? And then Krishna, of course, comes out, slackens his body and comes out from the coils. And then he decides that he has played enough with this thing. The only person who was not in any way scandalized or scared by this was Balramji. He was standing like this. Okay, Krishna, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm enjoying your Leela. So, because he's Ananta Shesha, he said, you never do all these things to me. Right? And he knows that for Krishna to kill this water snake is no big deal at all. Balramji is fully cognizant. He's also Parabrahma, right? So he's fully cognizant. So he's the one who's pacifying everybody. Don't worry, Krishna is all right. He will do the needful. So he's already killed many demons, so he will do the needful. So he pacifies everybody. And then Krishna decides to do, as Prabhupada says, something wonderful. We're talking about elaborating on Prabhupada's one word here, wonderful activities, which nobody has done before. So Krishna then jumps on the hood of Kalia, right? And he just jump and just push at him and, make him lose all his energy, like he had done to Kamsa. He just punched him once and Kamsa was dead, right? He didn't do that. He started dancing on the hoods of Kalia. Now this is so wonderful. Anybody who has danced or knows dancing, of course, we all know dancing because we dance like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's style, we have told us Swami stepping like that. We dance. There's not like that of dance, right? This is the dance which is the world has never seen. It is not Bharatanatyam, it is not Kataka, it is not Odissi. It is original Krishna's own dance, right? Maybe the combination of all these dances. And when he is dancing, right, the Apsaras are dancing in the heavenly planets looking at this Leela. The Gandharvas come. Gandharvas are all musicians. They're all singers, musicians. They're expert in this fine art. And they are playing drums. So Krishna is getting the drum beats from the Gandharvas who are supporting his dance. So with dance and Apsaras dancing and Krishna dancing, it becomes a wonderful pleasure-giving activity for Krishna. But the one who's terrorized the most is Kalia, because when Krishna's soft feet would fall on his head with the next step of the dance, it would be like a thunderbolt hitting his head so hard, right? And you would hit him so badly, his skull would start cracking, right? And then as Krishna is enjoying the dance, right? He's enjoying the dance beautifully. Now nobody can dance on a slippery surface like that. People who think they are good dancers, okay, fine, you are a good dancer, great. You may be great, great awards, whatever it is, right? But everyone has danced on a plain surface. on a wooden surface or some stage surface, right? But has anybody danced on a surface which is moving at top speed? Hoods are hitting him like this. Tack, 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 tack. Each of the hoods are trying to bite Krishna. Has anyone danced like that? And the hoods and the hoods of the serpent are always slippery, right? They are not firm, right? You cannot get a grip. May just slip off from the surface. So with a slippery surface which are moving at top speed, Krishna just jumps on one hood, in the next hood, in the next hood, in the next hood, right? So this is an inimitable activity which even Nataraj is Lord Shiva, even Nataraj cannot perform, right? So Krishna is the supreme dancer, right? And he showed his skills, his kala as most wonderful dancer of Braj. Therefore, he's called as Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Nattavara, right? The dancer. There are deities of Nattavar in Columbus, and I think and maybe in some other places also, right? There is one deity of Nattavar in Mumbai. So there are when that deity of Krishna is made in such that Krishna is dancing on the hoods of Kalia. That is his pose. And Radharani is there next to him also dancing. Right? So Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavan Nattavar, that particular. So how wonderful is this Leela of subduing Kalia? And this while all this is happening, Kalia is pouring out, pouring out, vicious poison coming in. Right? And he's losing his strength as Krishna's now they are lotus-like feet. Now they are so soft. They're so soft that gopis would be really, really, really worried that, oh my God, if the small pebble is wrongly placed in the ground and the pokey point is is pointed upwards and Krishna steps on them, oh my God, Krishna has not taken any footwear. Krishna never wears footwear because his cows are not wearing any footwear. Cows are not wearing footwear. Well, so he told one day, Maya, you want me to wear footwear? I'll wear footwear, but make footwear for all my 900,000 cows also. which is not, it could have been feasible, but I mean, Nanda Maharaj can do it, but it didn't happen. So if the cows are moving around the forest bare feet, then Krishna is also moving around bare feet. And that would make the gopis' heart sink in pain. That's how soft Krishna's feet are, very soft. They consider soft like the fresh tamal leaf. One day I went to in our temple at Radha Gopinath Mandir, there is one tamal tree, it's a huge tamal tree, which was planted in the memory of the disappearance of Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. It was very dear to so many devotees there. So I went to a leaf and I took up that leaf and that touched my body. Sometimes you want to experience what is given under scripture like that. It's funny. But that's how soft, butter soft. Now, butter, not the butter which you put in our, in the fridge, it becomes hard like a rock. And you put it on someone's head, skull will crack practically. But when it is freshly churned butter, right, and it is very fluffy, right, very soft. You can insert a finger just go easily. That's how soft is Krishna's body. Nobody has a body of that type. Nobody. The human body obviously is not like that. We have bones inside, so we cannot be soft, right? We have muscles and bones and all that stuff. But Krishna's body is muscleless, boneless. He's Sachitananda, Vigraha, butter soft body. And then those butter soft feet are falling on Kalia's head, right? For him, it is a death blow. It's like a death blow. It's so hard. He just can't handle that. And he start losing his energy. In the end, all the poison is out. And then he vomits blood. So vomits blood. Right? So this way Krishna has performed wonderful activities. And Krishna left behind on Kalia's head his footprint. And the Nagmadis are wondering, how fortunate is our husband? And Krishna's footna's lotus feet are worshipped by Brahma and Shiva. And even they don't get such intimate type of reciprocation from the Lord. But now Garudji will never come and, threaten to, harass Kalia and, Deva, eternal animosity. Because when Garudji sees that the beautiful feet of Krishna are adorned on the hoods of Kalia, like he had this, what do you call, like the gold when you buy gold, you have something called as hallmark, right? Or like a logo. You have companies have logos. Like Krishna's feet is like his logo. They are worshipable. So beautiful. All 32 signs of his feet are there on his transcendental lotus feet. Sri Krishna Charan. Right? So Garuji will no longer, he'll be very happy. They'll be like, yeah, he's a pure devotee of Krishna. And then Kaliya now becomes so subdued. He folds, he bows down. And he had heard so much from his wives, right, about Krishna's glories. So Prabhupada says he repeats the same thing again. He doesn't know how to offer prayers. He's a snake. He's poisonous. By now, of course, all his envy and poison is gone. He is completely humbled. Humbled. The goal of our Krishna consciousness ultimately is to become humble. Till we don't become truly humble. Right now, most of us may be practicing humility the way we are taught in our Vaishnava etiquette parlance, but a true humility of the heart. That's what the goal of life is, and that's the most celebrated words of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the avatari also. Trinadapi Sunichena Taroriva Saheshnuna Manina Manadena Kirtanya Sadahari. Right? Till we really do not reach the stage of true genuine humility, we won't be able to chant with a pure heart. We won't be able to chant constantly. And only that type of chanting with the humble heart will be truly pleasing to the Lord. And then the Lord manifests in our heart, on the throne of our heart, on the Hridaya Simhasana, on the throne of our heart. And that is the perfection of our lives. So this is what we wanted to talk about a little bit more detail, as I said, on Prabhupada's 2-3 times he used this word. 3 times he uses the word in the purport, wonderful activities, right? And therefore, what chapter of the Krishna book is called as Wonderful Krishna, right? And there is also a sweet, I think that's the Leela of Prabhupada when they made that something which is sugar and butter and milk powder, right? When I was in hostel staying in my medical college, we would make that for ourselves and offer it to the Lord. So it's called as in round circles. We used to get, there is one company called Amul milk powder we would get. It mixes with butter and mixes with sugar. Very simple. Anybody can make it. Any fool can make it, right? But Prabhupada called it as simply wonderfuls. Krishna is wonderful. The devotees are wonderful. And that particular sweet is wonderful. And therefore, all of our lives have, whatever they may have been in the past, we may have been horrible people, living all sorts of aimless, futile, crazy lifestyles. But our lives have become what now? They become glorious. Their life has become fortunate. Life has become wonderful. These 3 words were used by our worshipable Sri Bhakti Swami Maharaj. That wonderful, glorious, and fortunate. And this is our path. And therefore, all of us are very, very lucky to be on this path which Srila Prabhupada has given us. And we pray that our hearts keep on flowing like the holy Ganga. May our hearts always flow constantly like the Ganga flows from Gangotri towards the ocean. May our hearts also always flow in devotion and remembrance towards the feet of Krishna, who is an ocean of love. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you so much for the wonderful class, and thank you so much for sharing such beautiful stories. These stories helps us remember Krishna so much more, and thank you for sharing all the details of Prabhupada, what he would say, how he would say. Hare Krishna. Devotees, feel free to unmute yourself should you have any questions, realizations, thoughts, concern. Now is the time to ask Dwarkadhish Prabhu. Hari Bol. Prabhuji, you gave such a potent class. All the devotees have gotten sublime. It's a
Okay. It is our pleasure, my pleasure to
Hare
interact with all of you,
Krishna.
dear devotees who are Bhagavad Shramanis, who have taken a liking for hearing Bhagavad. This is such a beautiful thing. And I deeply, deeply appreciate and honor your taste, for Bhagavatam every day. You people gather every day for an hour or so. And no matter wherever you are in the world, you connect on the link and hear Bhagavatam from different speakers. This is um, a very wonderful, appreciable activity. This is the perfection of our years, year Bhagavatam. Okay.
Lalita Mataji, would you like to go ahead with your questions? We have one question, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. That was so wonderful. I felt like I was back in 1974 in the Montreal Temple, having hot milk and listening to Krishna book. I just feel so happy listening to you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Your blessing, Mataji. Please bless me. Please bless me. You
Yes,
have it is
all the
your
blessings
adhikar.
for all of us. I really am so amazed. Thank you so much.
Very well.
Hare
Hare Krishna. Yeah, fine. Chalo. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Gaurnitai ki jai. Shri Radha Shyam Sundar Bhagavan ki jai. Gaur Prema.
Manchakalpadharubhya Kripa Sindhu
Vasundodeva Chapatitanam Pavani Vaishnadevi
Vaishnavi
Namo Namah Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai Prabhupada ki jai Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai Jai Dwarkadhish Prabhuji
Prabhuji
ki
ki
jai
jai.
Prabhuji,
Gauranga.
Gauranga.